Welcome to Big Breaking News of America. Genesis Episode 4. Literary and Theological Style of Genesis. The Book of Genesis, known as Bereshit, in the beginning, in Hebrew, is a literary and theological masterpiece that serves as the opening text of the Jewish Torah and Tanakh. Its literary and theological style is central to its purpose, blending sophisticated narrative techniques with profound theological insights to convey the story of God's relationship with humanity and the origins of the Israelite people. Genesis is not a scientific treatise or a modern historical record but a theological narrative designed to address existential questions, establish divine truths, and shape Jewish identity. Its style is characterized by a deliberate use of multiple genres, narrative, genealogy, and poetry, which create a rich, multilayered text that engages readers emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. This exploration examines Genesis's literary and theological style through its theological narrative approach, its genre diversity, its cultural and historical context, and its enduring influence, highlighting how these elements make it the foundational text of the Torah. 1. Genesis as a theological narrative. The defining feature of Genesis's literary and theological style is its identity as a theological narrative, a text that prioritizes spiritual and moral truths over scientific or historical accuracy in the modern sense. This approach shapes the book's structure, language, and purpose, making it a vehicle for conveying divine revelation and human purpose within a monotheistic framework. Theological purpose over empirical fact. Genesis is crafted to reveal God's nature, humanity's role, and the covenantal relationship that defines Israel's identity. Its stories, creation, the fall, the flood, the patriarchs, are not intended to provide a scientific account of origins or a chronological history but to answer theological questions. Who is God? Why does the world exist? What is humanity's purpose? For example, the creation account in Genesis 1:12-3 uses a 7-day framework to emphasize divine order and the sanctity of the Sabbath, not to describe a literal timeline. Similarly, the flood narrative, Genesis 6:9, focuses on God's judgment and mercy, not geological details. This theological focus aligns with the ancient Near Eastern worldview, where stories conveyed meaning through symbolic and mythic forms rather than empirical data. Rabbinic perspective. Jewish tradition, as seen in Bereshit Rabbah, interprets Genesis as a revelation of divine intent. For instance, the Midrash suggests that God created the world for the Sarkei of the Torah and Israel, emphasizing Genesis's spiritual purpose over literalism. Maimonides, in his Guide for the Perplexed, argues that Genesis's accounts are allegorical, designed to teach truths accessible to all levels of understanding. Contrast with modern expectations. Modern readers often approach texts with expectations of historical or scientific precision, but Genesis operates within an ancient literary context. Its narratives use symbolic language, archetypal characters, and stylized events to convey universal truths. For example, the image of God, Tselem Elohim, Genesis 1:26-27, signifies human dignity and purpose, not a physical likeness. This approach allows Genesis to transcend cultural and temporal boundaries, addressing timeless questions about existence, morality, and divine human relationships. Jewish scholars like Rabbi Jonathan Sachs have noted that Genesis's theological narrative complements science by answering why, purpose, rather than how, mechanism, making it relevant in modern contexts. Literary techniques supporting theology. Genesis employs repetition, parallelism, and wordplay to reinforce its theological messages. For instance, the creation account's repetitive structure, "and God said, and it was so, and it was good," creates a rhythmic, liturgical quality that underscores divine order and goodness. The wordplay between Adam, human, and Adamah, earth, Genesis 2:7, highlights humanity's connection to creation and dependence on God. The narrative's economy of language, conveying profound ideas with minimal words, reflects its oral origins, designed for memorization and communal recitation. For example, the terse account of Cain and Abel, Genesis 4, leaves gaps, for example, why was Abel's offering accepted, that invite interpretation, a hallmark of Jewish exegesis. Theological implications. By prioritizing theology, Genesis establishes God as the sovereign creator, moral judge, and covenantal partner, themes that underpin the Torah's laws and narratives. Its non-scientific style ensures accessibility, allowing diverse audiences, ancient and modern, Jewish and non-Jewish, to engage with its message. The theological narrative approach fosters flexibility, as seen in Jewish interpretive traditions like Peshat, literal meaning, and Drash, homiletic meaning, which draw ethical and spiritual lessons from Genesis's stories. Two multifaceted genres, narrative, genealogy, and poetry. Genesis's literary style is enriched by its use of multiple genres, narrative, genealogy, and poetry, which create a dynamic, multilayered text. Each genre serves a distinct literary and theological purpose, contributing to the book's coherence and depth while engaging readers through varied forms of expression. 2.1 Narrative. Dominance and role. Narrative is the primary genre in Genesis, driving the plot from creation to the patriarchal family's settlement in Egypt. These stories, ranging from cosmic, creation, flood, to personal, Abraham's journey, Joseph's saga, form the backbone of Genesis's theological message, illustrating God's interaction with humanity through vivid, relatable accounts. The narratives are character-driven, focusing on human struggles, divine encounters, and moral dilemmas. For example, Abraham's call, Genesis 12:1-3, portrays faith and obedience, while his deception in Egypt, Genesis 12:10-20, reveals human weakness, creating a complex, relatable figure. Literary features. Genesis's narratives are marked by economy and ambiguity, leaving gaps that invite interpretation. For instance, the binding of Isaac, Akedah, Genesis 22, is concise yet emotionally charged, with sparse dialogue that heightens tension and prompts questions about faith and sacrifice. Dialogue plays a significant role, revealing character and advancing theology. Joseph's reconciliation with his brothers, Genesis 45:1-15, uses heartfelt dialogue to convey forgiveness and divine providence, a key theological theme. The narratives vary in scope and pace. The primeval history, Genesis 1:11, moves quickly, covering generations in broad strokes, while the patriarchal narratives, Genesis 12:50, slow down, lingering on personal dramas like Jacob's wrestling with God, Genesis 32, or Joseph's rise in Egypt, Genesis 39:50. Theological significance. Narratives convey theology through story, making abstract concepts, for example, covenant, providence, concrete and relatable. The story of Noah's Ark, Genesis 6:9, illustrates God's justice and mercy, while Abraham's Akedah demonstrates faith and divine provision. The human focus of the narratives underscores the theological theme of humanity's dignity and fall, showing how God works through flawed individuals to fulfill divine purposes. This aligns with the Torah's emphasis on human responsibility within God's plan. Cultural impact. In Jewish tradition, Genesis's narratives are central to liturgy and education. The Akedah is read on Rosh Hashanah, symbolizing faith/N system. Today's date and time is 1:36 p.m. IST on Tuesday, the 13th of May, 2025. Thank you for watching Big Breaking News of America. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for more news updates. Share our channel with your friends and family members, leave a like for more videos and express your thoughts under comment section.